The disciples of the Broken Moon clan stood in front of the central hall, rooted to the ground in shock. Their attention was focused on Ludlow, who was still high in the sky. Master Aiden, Elder Josephine, the two mystic rank newcomers, and other elites stared at him warily. They couldn't believe that he had injured two true mystic rank cultivators with a single glance. He was clearly very powerful, and they were terrified. Timothy was a freelance cultivator who roamed freely around the 13 countries. He was extremely strong and brave, and there were few cultivators like him. The 7th Core Elder was also extremely powerful and could defeat the most people at the true mystic rank using physical strength alone. Nobody below True Lord rank was a match for him. However, neither of them had been able to block a single move from Ludlow. "How dare you!" The 7th Core Elder roared at him, wiping away the blood that dripped from the corner of his mouth. "You betrayed the Alliance by joining this brat!" Ludlow, Noah, and the 7th Core Elder all belonged to the Iron Dragon Alliance, although Noah had much lower status than the others. Ludlow didn't say anything. However, when he looked at Bobby, a glint of desperation appeared in his eyes. This detail didn't escape the crowd. Is someone as scary as Ludlow really willing to be Bobby's subordinate? Somebody muttered. Bobby and Ludlow both possessed an eye bloodline. The ancient shrine that Ludlow belonged to was a small chapter of the Scarlet Moon cult and had betrayed the 13 clans when the battle started at Cloak Dragon Lake. He was a core member of the Iron Dragon Alliance and a disciple of the Scarlet Moon cult. Some people wondered whether he was being threatened. He didn't explain his actions to the 7th Core Elder, and nobody asked any questions. Bobby laughed lightly. "Let's get on with this apology to Master Aiden," he said. "It's best that nobody interferes." Master Aiden and his followers trembled in their boots. If someone as terrifying as Ludlow felt threatened by Bobby, it was hard to imagine how strong he must be. They all moved very cautiously, and nobody dared to do anything rash. The 7th Core Elder and Timothy stared at him warily. They didn't understand who they were facing. If Bobby's subordinate was powerful enough to defeat them instantly, they knew he must have been an incredible fighter. Everyone was silent, and the only noise was the sound of Bobby's footsteps. He walked closer and closer to the array, and everyone's heart sped up. "He's close," someone muttered. "He's almost within range of the array." "Master Aiden," someone else said urgently. "The Demon Slayer array is ready," someone else whispered. The array was their last chance. It was an ancient array that had taken a huge number of materials and money to build. 8 true spirit realms and 64 elite cultivators of the 6th and 7th sky were needed to initiate its power. The 8 experts of the true spirit realm were ready and waiting in front of the central hall. Noah was one of them. "The array is complete," one of them muttered. "That brat's within range," someone else said with a chuckle. "If he moves a bit closer and stands in the center, he won't be able to escape unharmed even if he's at True Lord rank," someone else said excitedly. The reinforcements and the elites of the Broken Moon clan felt pleased, confident that their Demon Slayer array could defeat Bobby. When Mr. Marino and Mr. Ayers saw what was happening, they shouted out and tried to warn him. They had helped to construct the Demon Slayer array, so they knew how powerful it was. However, their warning came too late. Bobby stepped into the center of the array. It was the perfect moment to start the array, and everyone in the Broken Moon clan watched with delight. "Wow," Bobby said. "Is this a Demon Slayer array? I heard Mr. Ayers talk about this when I was in the clan mission division." He chuckled softly and examined the array curiously. Everyone stared at him in disbelief. "What's going on?" they thought. "Isn't he going to run away?" Master Aiden suddenly became very anxious. Bobby obviously knew a lot about arrays. Not only had he heard about the Demon Slayer array, but he had also walked right into it with a smile on his face. At that moment, the experts and the reinforcements felt a chill spread down their spines. Bobby was clearly far more powerful than they had realized. Timothy suddenly regretted accepting the mission. He had been personally invited by Master Aiden and briefed on the plan to tackle Bobby, and he knew how strong this was. However, they had underestimated Bobby's skills. He was extremely mysterious, and none of them understood the true extent of his abilities. Previously, when Bobby left the area, he had been regarded as the #1 prodigy of the 13 countries. Since he had returned, no one really knew his true strength. "Don't let this boy fool you," Elder Josephine shouted. "We can kill him if we work together." The 8 experts at the True Spirit realm circulated their True Spirit's vital energy, and the 64 elites of the Ascended realm quickly joined them. "Open the Demon Slayer array," they shouted in unison. 8 bright lights immediately flared, illuminating the area around Bobby. The shafts of light twisted around him like chains, locking him in place. The people watching gasped in astonishment. "It's so strong," someone said. "Each of the 8 chains are probably as powerful as a peak True Mystic rank," someone else replied. The leaders of the Broken Moon clan were trembling with excitement. Many of them had never seen such a magnificent and powerful array in their lives. Bobby remained completely still as the 8 chains snaked around him. 2 of them even wrapped themselves around his legs. He sighed as he looked at the array. "It's a good attempt," he thought, "but I can only be threatened by 8 true mystic ranks working together." He released a barrier of lightning and wind that threw the chains aside. Sparks flew everywhere as they were flung away. "The Demon Slayer array focuses their power," he thought. "But they aren't in sync with each other and haven't practiced enough, so only around 60% of its maximum strength is being used." He shook his head and walked slowly toward Master Aiden. "Watch out!" he shouted, his voice trembling. "Don't overestimate yourself." No one had anticipated that Bobby would casually stroll out of the Demon Slayer array. "I just want to apologize, Master Aiden," Bobby said. "Why are you so nervous?" He folded his arms and smiled. He didn't look like as if he was getting ready to fight. A voice suddenly ran out of the central hall. "The new generations of fighters are really terrifying," it said. This voice had a magic quality that meant everyone to hear it clearly, even though it was deep and soft. Ludlow's and Noah's expressions changed dramatically while Master Aiden, the 7th Core Elder, and the others were rooted to the ground with shock. Everyone was frozen for a moment. Suddenly, 3 black hooded figures in the corner of the central hall threw off their robes and revealed their faces. Their terrifying auras spread through the air. The 2 men and 1 woman looked like demons straight from hell. One of the men wore mystical robes and held a steel fan. His skin and clothes were made of a metallic substance, and they radiated a cold aura. A streak of silver and gold cut through the air, and Bobby took a step backward. The man's fan had missed him by a few inches. It was so sharp that it would have cut him cleanly in half. "Lord Raytheon!" Master Aiden gasped. The elders of the Broken Moon clan all stared in surprise. "Is it really Lord Raytheon?" they thought. His name was imprinted on the mind of every person in the 13 clans. "It's the 3 palace lords," the 7th Core Elder shouted joyfully. "Welcome!" So the Scarlet Moon cult sent Lord Archibald, Lord Raytheon, and Lady Annabelle with me? Loa thought, shocked. The 3 palace lords. How is this possible? Previously, the leaders of the Alliance had told him that 3 experts would support the Broken Moon clan against Bobby, but the experts appeared to be 3 palace lords from the Iron Dragon Alliance. "Greetings, Lord Archibald, Lord Raytheon, and Lady Annabelle," Noah said promptly. Cold sweat beaded on Ludlow's forehead, and he began to feel uneasy. The 3 palace lords quickly formed a triangle around Bobby. Lord Archibald had the strongest aura of the three. His hair was long and black, and there was a black horn on his forehead. He was dressed from head to toe in dark armor that radiated an old and mysterious aura. Everything about him was completely terrifying. Lady Annabelle stood on his left, wearing an elegant dress. She had a face of an angel, but the body of a devil. Her aura was enchanting, and every smile and movement was filled with a dangerous sweetness. "Good job, Noah," Lord Archibald said, his voice booming and his hair flowing in the wind. "Bobby has returned to the Broken Moon clan. Without Master Aiden's help, we wouldn't have been able to ambush him so easily." Time seemed to slow down, and no one from the Broken Moon clan dared to even take a breath. 3 of the 4 major figures of the Iron Dragon Alliance had appeared to visit the tiny Broken Moon clan. 3 palace lords, Master Aiden said, letting out a weary sigh. "Looks like I was just bait." He smiled bitterly,